Hi, welcome to the biggest mess of a video chat I've had so far. This is for July. Okay, uh, I guess in order of announcements, there's a new Ross's Game Dungeon coming very soon. If you're watching this on YouTube, it might be out in a couple hours. Um, I thought I have it out before now. It just consumed me, but it's going to be a good episode. I think it might be my favorite of the non-weird game episodes. Uh, let's see the what's going on right now. If you haven't seen the other videos, my apartment's been overrun with mold or part of it. I've basically evacuated the room I normally work in, and I'm in my living room right now. However, my air is breathable, just not in that room really. Uh, I've been trying to move, haven't been able to. That's mentioned in the other videos. But so far, I can work on Game Dungeon and some other things, but not Freeman's Mind yet. Still, uh, let's see. Looking at my notes here. Oh yeah, came out a little bit last month. Well, I did this several months ago. I had an interview with composer Alexander Brandon. He did a lot of the music to Tyrion, Unreal Tournament, Deus Ex. Uh, And Tom White of Weird Video Games arranged all that and invited me on. So it's on his channel. When I put this up on YouTube, I'll have a link to it. You can watch that if you want. It is, I'd say it got a little more technical than I was expecting, but I got to ask him some questions I wanted to. Um, yeah, I guess this bit of this, yeah, I asked him like what happened with Deus Ex Invisible War, because he was basically groupthink for the industry is what happened. The what else? Yeah, that may be a little dry for some people though. In that case, I recommend Tom's alternate edit. He calls it like bonus interview. I have a quick cameo in that. Let's see. Oh yeah, and this may be a little choppy right at the beginning, especially for live people. I'm finishing running and encoding of the next episode, the visual portion, because the visual portion's all done, assuming I didn't make a mistake. And then I'm going to do the volume balancing while it's encoding the rendering. I sometimes do that to save time if I can set it up that way. So yeah, what Premiere's saying, a little under 3 minutes left on that. So actually, I'm going to lower the priority of Premiere. Let's see, I should have done that already. Below normal. Okay. So yeah, I have a multi-core processor. Maybe it can handle it. More announcements. Okay, no future game sessions for right now, just because it's kind of a nightmare for me to set up. In fact, I can't find my microphone I normally use for these. The microphone I use for recording is different. That's not. I'd have to like hold that to my mouth the entire time, and there's some weight to it. I didn't really want to use that, so I'm just using a webcam mic. But even that, I don't really have space to set up everything for a game session. However, I would like. Well, part of that's related to the next episode, so I guess I won't be mentioning that this time. I'll talk about that next time. Although I may want to resume PlanetSide too at one point, give it another shot. Apparently, they changed a bunch of stuff in October. I didn't even realize that might make it more fun. I'll see, but oh yeah, oh yeah, future plans for the videos. I'm almost my plan so thoroughly blew up in my face this time that I'm almost just am afraid to mention any plans. So I would kind of think of them more like like resolutions, like New Year's resolutions. Yes, sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't. That's to get more stuff. The website may be launching very soon this month. That's a little less in my hands. Well, significantly less in my hands, but I'm overseeing it. Um, I have another game dungeon coming not too long. It should be a lot easier than this last one. This last one I got too ambitious, but it's a good one. Uh, and I may just keep doing Game Dungeon. Although this last one, it made me think for the amount of work I'm putting into it, that needs to go into the movie. Like if I'm gonna just spend these like crazy number of hours on something. In fact, this one might be the last like real ambitious game dungeon for a long time. I don't know. Uh, so well, we'll see. I mean, I think the important thing is to like keep up the writing quality. Uh oh. Oh, okay. My wife is waving to me saying to mention her Twitter. Amazing Magda. She, if you're into Guild Wars 2, she's definitely. I keep telling her she should stream because she'd be perfect for it. Her reactions are great, and okay. Uh, okay, so I'll get my train of thought back. Oh yeah, part of the reason the episode's not out now is I decided I've been up. I don't even know how long. I think over 24 hours at just editing, and so I decided, you know what, this is gonna be a lot better if I have some sleep. So I had about 4 hours sleep. So I'm like a half battery charge when you like yank it from the plug. It was very disorienting at first. It kind of if you've ever seen North by Northwest, it reminds me of the scene where he's like trying to drive the car drunk, you know. But I'm waking up more now. And okay, something I almost mentioned in the New Beginning video, which is a while back, that I decided to cut for time, is if anyone, one of the things I liked about that game is I like predictive future stuff, even if it's not accurate or far off. So if you know of any like good like books, movies I've probably seen, but hey, maybe not. Games, anything like that where they're really trying to take their best guess at the future. I mean, it can be wrong or be kind of skeptical, but they're trying to use data and trends to just make their best guess. I like stuff like that a lot. So, uh, feel free to pass along those suggestions to me. My email, rosswscott@gmail.com. Oh, yeah, that's another one. The, what? Oh, yeah. YouTube is killing private messages soon, I think in 2 days from now. I'm gonna try and check all of mine tomorrow after I've slept more to see if anybody sent me anything important. But if I guess something to be aware of, yeah, just use my email if you like want to contact me about something. So I really am gonna try and reply to more of them soon. I know it just. It probably seems like a black hole at this point. You just like, hi Ross, all that, just nothing. So it's just a matter of triage. I really, I'm not trying to ignore anyone intentionally at all. Okay, yeah, now we're getting down to the low priority stuff. I figured I may as well ask. Okay, I don't have them on me. I have to ask because it seems like I must go through like 5 or 6 of these a year. Okay, like little earbud headphones that you wear, just for like exercise or something. Can anyone recommend a durable model for those? Because it's like the ear just dies out like about a month and a half is about how long they tend to last me. And not the kind that like go really deep in your ear canal. I don't really like those kind. Just like normal earbud headphones. Can somebody recommend those that just have like good durability? I don't even care about the audio quality so much because they tend to be fine. So let's see. So yeah, feel free to email me on that. If they don't even, yeah, somebody's saying they may not even exist. I can believe that. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's because oh yeah, I'm also gonna have a hard cutoff on this chat because I want to get back to the video and release the next game dungeon. Uh, Oops, I hit space. Okay, I was worried I hit a button that stopped recording or something. Just, train of thought. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna cut this off like maybe before then, but definitely about like the 2 hour mark from starting this. Just to mention that. And I don't know because I can say whatever on these. When I was doing a lot of editing, for some reason, it popped into my head. the I was thinking, if you've ever seen the movie Cool World, it's not that good a movie, but it has a good soundtrack. But like the actual setting in that is actually, I was thinking about, that was really interesting and intriguing. Not necessarily all these cartoon characters, but in that they have this environment where it's like this fantasy urban gigantic gothic architecture weird world. And I was thinking, that'd be really cool to have something like in a similar setting like that. So that was my thoughts. Okay, so I'm gonna get to viewer submitted questions. I've only even looked at one or two of those, so most of these are going to be a surprise to me because I just glanced at them and just got. Because this whole week I've just been working on the episode. That's what got me thinking. If I'm just putting these kind of hours in, it needs to be in the movie. So, but it in a way I did myself a favor because it really is like kicking me in the gear on that. Like I'm ready to just tear in. I'm ready to tear into it like a lawnmower this month. So I'm gonna try. In fact, I kind of want to pace between the movie, Game Dungeon, and just other miscellaneous things like emails, website, just keeping the ship afloat things. So, but yeah, somebody's saying Cool World is like a punkish version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That would be a good movie for a remake. Yeah, the kinds of movies I want to see remade are ones where they had an interesting or good idea, but the execution just wasn't quite there. So yeah, and for people asking questions in the chat, I'll try to get to you before I go for the top voted questions first as sort of way to prioritize it. But okay, so I'm gonna pull up the questions people sent, and we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, well I guess the final announcement is while I am planning more Game Dungeon, if I do find a place that I can move to, that could disrupt everything temporarily because I'm gonna jump on it. So like, oh yeah, that's the thing I forgot. Okay, I mentioned this on Twitter. After I did the video, basically saying my apartment's just kind of getting overrun by mold and there's cracks appearing, the neighbors below, we met them when we were out at the pond, like near where we live, exercising. We met our neighbors, and my wife started talking to them. Apparently, they've been having problems too. And the administration came in and said, no, it's just the building being normal, whatever. And they didn't buy it. So they hired an independent inspector to come look at the place. And he looked at it and he drilled a tiny hole in the wall and water started coming out. Water out of the walls. So yeah, there's no fixing this place, at least while I'm here. So I just biding my time. But air's good here, despite what it looks like. It hasn't been a problem in our bathroom. So, but yeah, that would explain all these cracks I keep seeing. And also, I first noticed the problem after a heavy rain. So, the mold that was causing me a problem, it's likely I'm not even seeing it. So, yeah, this is a neighbor just below us. Okay, so yeah, okay, so I'm gonna get to the viewer questions. Let's see. Yeah, I pulled that up. Okay. Do you feel like you've been shafted by the economy of being on a YouTube content creator? Uh, yes and no. I mean, I never thought I'd be able to do anything like YouTube before, so there's that. Plus, the other thing is, what I got hammered by them multiple times in the past, and since then it hasn't changed too drastically. Or like, yeah, it hasn't. I mean, basically, when I did the Begathon video, that was more or less. It's been more or less kind of gliding, kind of parallel. Yeah, my prediction. I made a prediction of where it was going in the Begathon video, and it's just been like right in line with that. So the additional hammering since then, it hasn't seemed to punch below that point so far. Yeah, watch me jinx it. But and cool, the rendering's done. The so I mean that Begathon thing just basically saved me, and it's bought me so incredibly much more time from you guys. So basically, I answer to you guys now. Like I kind of don't care what YouTube is doing beyond just major stuff like it would get the channel banned or something like that. Uh, so yes, but not. You know, I've heard before that like YouTube still isn't profitable or something like that. They have a longer term plan. That might be why they're trying to get all these TV channels or something going. The you know, I guess well, they've retired their "Don't be evil" phrase for Google because the non-evil thing to do would be if you're making these plans just to be upfront and tell people it's coming, so they can kind of plan around it and or realize their channel's like in trouble or something if it's the wrong topics. So, uh, but and they don't look. It's obvious they have some sort of agenda that they. I mean, I think they're going to try. Like I have a friend who monitors this sort of thing more than I do. I think they are trying to move towards like I think they're trying to like sweep most YouTubers under the rug and they're trying to bring in like big uh, like TV channels, that sort of thing, to become take over the new TV because there's probably more upfront advertising money in there, even though Google's entire strength and foundation has been through the long tail, being able to kind of get everybody's little niche interest. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's see. I'm still not happy with some of their interface changes, but they try to make up for some of the. Yeah, that's one of the reason the website I've been told could have been out by now, the new one, but I'm holding out because I want. It may take a little bit longer to get a feature I want, which is like the thumbnail grid views of the videos, kind of similar to how YouTube does, but also have pages. So if you want to see a real old one or one in the middle, it's just easy to jump right to it. So let's see. And you can sort it by category. So if you only want Game Dungeon or you want the other weird videos I did, it'll be easy to sort it by that. Oh yeah, and I mentioned in other videos, Freeman's Mind will return, but not in this apartment. So it's because if you probably hear some of the echo here, when I get real loud, then that starts coming into play. So. You don't hide the fact that you're a big fan of atmosphere in games. Which games do you think have the best atmosphere? Well, I mean, it's it sort of depends what sort of atmosphere you're looking for. One that just jumps to, I'm sure, because I mean, what's really best, like because I mean, the one that always jumps to my mind is Unreal, because I think to have atmosphere, you need like this some sort of engaging visuals but kind of music too. I mean, you don't have to have music, but I think it really helps. Um, but like if you're a film noir fan, actually the original Max Payne had a real good atmosphere to it. If you like that, the Silent Hill series in general, they have their own definite mood going on in those. Uh, I see screenshots of so many games that probably have a good atmosphere. Oh, Axiom Verge. I like the, Super Metroid. A lot of classics do. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Again, games with like the music can really carry the game. Yeah, somebody's saying Dark Souls. I still need to play that. Let's see. So somebody's spamming their name and saying they love me. In the chat. Let's see. Yeah, I've seen screenshots to some that look like they could have good atmosphere. I still need to play Firewatch. I think there was one called, like Adeline's Cradle or something. That may not even be out yet. I don't know. Subnautica I still need to play, but that one looks like it could have like a pretty good atmosphere to it. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country is one. I was thinking of underwater, and I was remembering the underwater music in Donkey Kong Country, though. I mean, it's, I mean, unfortunately, you're just getting stuff off the top of my head rather than like an analytical look at it to try to figure out, no, this one's the best, But those are some names I can think of. I need to catch up more on those. Somebody's saying play Nascents. I think that's on my game list of games to check out somewhere. But okay, let's see. Ross, I hope your troubles find a satisfying resolution soon. Are you considering moving to another city or country if all else fails? Not really moving to another country. In fact, that would cause a lot of problems if I were to move to another country because I'm still trying to get my official stay permit. Uh, if if the income just completely imploded, I I mean it might be rough on my wife, but we might consider moving someplace to a different city or town or something that would be much cheaper. But so far we're okay. Well, actually, when we move, we're probably gonna be doing that anyway, just not like extreme levels. Still hope that public transit, that sort of thing. Well, there's train networks here, so. Also, do you have any comments on Total Biscuit's death? Okay, that one's a rough one. Obviously, it's tragic. I mean, that's the only real takeaway from it. But I mean, I kind of see him or saw him like the sort of the pillar of the modern gaming community people. Like sort of like Angry Joe or Yahtzee. People. I think you. I mean, I just bounce all over the place like a pinball, but you have people who are just really sort of towing the line for sort of the modern game consumer, and I think he was like the cornerstone of that. And he covered all. Like I remember not, 'cause I appeared on his podcast once. I remember just thinking like, man, how does he keep up with all of this? Like there's so many games that he's given a mention because I have this giant game list of ones I want to research more, and those are just the games. Like oh yeah, Jim Sterling's another person I mentioned like that. Those are just the games like I think I personally might be interested in. I need to check them out more, but they're just seems like they're covering everything. I don't even know how you do that now. So, oh yeah, somebody's saying why I don't count myself. I don't cover enough. I don't like that's because they're covering what 10 times the games I am. So yeah, I mean that definitely leaves a gap, but I think he helped establish a standard. I think his thing was big being big on sort of consumer rights. I'm less. That's the sort of thing where, except for dead games, which I'm like completely adamant on. Yeah, not killing the game that you've paid for. I'm less adamant. I'm not as driven on that sort of thing as he is, but at the same time, obviously, somebody pushing back in this direction is needed and helpful. So it's kind of how I feel about like privacy stuff in general. Like with privacy rights, like loss of that. It's the sort of thing where it doesn't affect me too dramatically personally, but I totally get and I'm supportive of the people who that's a big deal for them. Like they're trying to avoid like the 1984 scenario, and because you kind of you kind of need those people kind of fighting the fight in the background, and you're sort of benefiting because if they sort of collapse and you just have the one side pushing in the other direction, like let's say just what the publishers want, then you see a downfall or a sort of slippery slope of what happens. And well, we're already seeing that in gaming. And Total Biscuit was definitely one of the people who pushed back against that. Some of the hardest, I think. So I could say more, but I think I'm gonna move on. This one's I try to get this stuff too dark. So, but yeah, that sums up what I thought about him. Let's see. What was your favorite thing shown at E3 this year? I think my only thing I looked at by E3 was this article. Here, let me see. Was an article showing like what came out or what was announced and like a summary, and I watched a couple trailers. That said, I'm really probably not going to be straying from the pack here. From what I saw, I think I have to put Cyberpunk. at the top. I mean, Cyberpunk 2077. In fact, I watched the trailer, and you know what? That's enough. Like I feel like I don't want to know anything else about this game until I'm like actually playing it, because like it just there's all these little things I'm seeing, and that like you know how you get an idea, you get a feel for the creator sometimes when you watch something, and like you're getting all these sort of nonverbal, maybe even subconscious things that you're looking at. The And from Cyberpunk, I'm getting like, oh man, this. I'm getting a lot of good vibes from it to the point where I don't want to overhype it for myself. I don't want to have things spoiled. I just want to like just go in blind because it's probably the most encouraged I've seen from a like a game trailer in years. But the what the somebody's saying, oh God, he's Aldrich. Maybe it's in something else. I don't know what that it's meant for, but you know what it gave. What I really like is they're keeping like the sort of retrofuturism aesthetic to it. So this looks like a future '80s kind of science fantasy thing, and that I found that just really encouraging because you know like some things as time goes on, some things get better. But then other times you see things like, no, that was awesome. Why didn't we stop there? Why don't we keep doing that? And that's kind of how I feel about some 80s aesthetic things. You know like, again, I like sort of 80s and 90s kind of synth music or everything. So it's like some new things are better. I just think, like, I don't really miss much of like 70s music or anything like that. And but you know, so I really like how it's like the trailer suggests to me that they're keeping this game uh what it's like they're keeping this game just frozen in time, and we're just throwing modern resources at it. And I was thinking, it's like, no, we're just putting off a cutoff point like right here, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm thinking, I'm so happy to see something like that, you know. So I think it's probably going to be pretty amazing. So they can take as long as they need to making that game. Okay, but let's see. What else is at E3? Ones that got me. Let's see. I think they're. Let's see. I'm scrolling through tests. Oh yeah, that one. This one could be have a lot of potential. Maybe. Dying Light 2. I still need to play the first one, but I saw them mentioning that apparently that one's. I always thought like a game should have more of this. I mean, because it's a lot of work, but have it sounds like that one's gonna have like a bunch of branching storylines, or you make a decision. Okay, that leads to these. That leads to these. Some games try to do that, but they just sort of it all falls through. Maybe that's the case with this one too, but it felt like they're trying. You know, they're trying to kind of make an idea that could be pretty interesting. So let's see. I'm looking at the others that I don't even know what that one is. Okay, I didn't see the trailer to this. I'm seeing The Quiet Man. I don't know anything about that. Oh yeah, Forza Horizon 4 looks like something I would want to play. I still haven't played any of the Forza Horizon games because I'm still on Windows 7. So as far as Microsoft's concerned, I can go to hell because none of them have come out for that. But I eventually want to play the Forza, pretty much all the Forza Horizon games. So I like open world driving stuff. Let's see. The Anthem one, I don't know. That one looks. Anthem strikes me as the sort of game I might play if it's like less than $5. Because I really like the aesthetics of it. Well, yeah, it looks like this weird kind of sci-fi fantasy thing that looks pretty neat, like on another planet and like advanced technology and stuff. I like that sort of thing. But the gameplay, I don't know. It looked like it could be like a bullet spongy game, and it's gonna be online only. So I don't know. So the looks like it's not going to be really what I'm looking for, but I might like it enough to want to play the game once it gets like super cheap. So years from now, this is how I look at games. But okay, Sea of Solitude. That looks like it could be neat, but I still need to play Sunless Sea. I have to get past the learning curve on that. I found it hilarious. Oh yeah, I think that was the other part of the question. The biggest disappointment. That might also be Anthem because uh, my expectations are pretty. I don't really have much in the way of expectations now. But again, I like what they're doing visually, but may not really like the gameplay direction they're taking it. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious how many downvotes the Command and Conquer mobile game trailer got because it's like, man, and the thing is, they're playing this sort of generic promo music or that it's like a more modern style. It's not really my favorite and they're showing some mobile game. It's like, man, not only are you trying to downgrade the Command and Conquer experience, but I mean, I think what Command and Conquer fans want is another real-time strategy game, or else something. I think there was a spin-off like Generals or something, where it was sort of ground level, but it still had that war complexity to it. I think that's what Command and Conquer fans want you know. But they're releasing this sort of downgraded mobile game, and you know what? And then we're having this sort of generic music. What you have the Hell March theme you can call on something in that vein. I mean, that's one of the classics in game music. Yeah, if you haven't heard that, look up Command and Conquer Hell March. That's I think it was from the Red Alert ones or something. Yeah, somebody saying Renegade. That might be what I was thinking of. So I mean, it's just this is the wrong audience to try to pull the wool over their eyes. Yeah, I heard somebody mention that one's it's more profitable for them to do that. Well, not for that demographic. It's not. you know, you can maybe get away with mobile games and some other things, but not for the Command and Conquer fans. So, okay, I haven't seen this one. Was it? Well, this could be okay. I'm just looking at screenshots now. I don't even know all the games that are coming. Babylon's Fall looks like it could be interesting from the screenshots there. I don't know. Okay, this is an unpopular opinion. I think Beyond Good and Evil was kind of overrated, but I don't know. Okay, see, I haven't even seen the trailer for the new one, but the visuals from the new one that could be. Oh, that's another one I was looking for. Despite not me being not crazy on deserts, I hope Rage 2 is good because I feel like Rage 2 isn't afraid to get crazy and or rage what and that's another one where I feel like try again. Yeah. That's how I feel like about Rage. Worth another try. Worth another try. Like take sort of the Mad Max theme, but just get even crazier with it. So I'm for that. Geez, there are a ton of games at E3. Transference. Okay, I don't know. That one might. There's a lot of wander around by yourself games. So I think I'm getting kind of saturated. Yeah, you know how some people get tired of like certain subgenres, like zombies or something. I think I'm getting a little tired of the wander around completely by yourself in a dark area game. So okay, there's just too many games listed here. Like, Sinking City might be interesting. Let's see. But yeah, I think so. Okay, so I'm taking too long in this question. Genesis Alpha 1. I didn't even see that one. Okay, yeah, that looks like it could be interesting. Sort of a Starship Troopers kind of thing. Noita. There's just too. Yeah, this is the problem. I'll go through all this stuff at some point and sort of filter out which ones I'm interested in. Control. I didn't see these. So yeah, sorry. I just basically glanced at E3. It looks like Vigor. Oh, okay, that's a Daisy clone. Yeah, okay. You know what? That is a mix. That is a blessing in disguise. I okay. If you watch my videos, you know I'm not the biggest fan of turn-based combat. Even if there's totally intriguing looking games based on that, because I think I'd love everything else about XCOM. So it's great when I can just slash them off my list because there's so many. And that's kind of how I feel about Battle Royale. Because I don't know, it just it's totally like a legitimate gameplay style. I understand the appeal of it, but I don't know. To me, it's like that makes it. I don't know. It's like too personal for him. It's too dystopian for me. Because it's like you're the pawn permanently, which can be a fun concept, but if it's not part of a story or something, it's just I don't know. I'm not trying. If you like battle royale games, great. It's just not quite what I like. But so it's great that I can slash off all these battle royale games. I mean, the most I'll want to do with those is if they have any music, listen to those, and if it's a neat game world, maybe just see the whole world and be done with it. That's kind of what I do with DayZ games anyway. I'm not huge on the game. I like the survival aspect of it, but not the just getting sniped by some random person across a field part. So I kind of just sort of gravitate towards different games. Like I mean, for multiplayer, I'd rather do something either kind of quick, like oh yeah, Quake Champions is going to be free to play, but they had a you were able to get the early beta or access earlier this month. I mean, I'd be interested in that, or I like larger team games that can be where you can kind of specialize in your role. Sometimes that can be fun, but let's see. Okay, so I spent way too long on that question. Well, it was a good question. That was towards the top. So okay. Oh, okay. Well, this is just a general compliment. They're saying uh, my stuff's some of the best they've seen. Unlike Fairweather fans, though, you okay? That's either a reference to something I didn't know, or I didn't realize that was an adjective altogether, like that, or I didn't know that expression. That will lose interest during a focus on content that doesn't cater to them, or a lull in output. Okay, he's saying he'll stick by me all the way. Well, thank you. I try to skip by stuff like that because I mean, do people really want me just reading stuff talking about how like compliments? I mean, I wouldn't want to watch that. So I'll respond. That's more for what emails are for. Like I'll try to respond more to those, but I kind of like to minimize that sort of thing with the public stuff and talk about things in general people are going to want to hear about. Okay. My favorite dishes native to Poland. If you could bring one food that you love to Poland that's from another country, what would it be? And somebody asked below that are Polish sausages really Polish? They have all kinds of sausages. It's kind of like uh, if I could think more clearly, I'd come up with the analogy. Uh, I mean, it can be, I guess. Uh, the favorite dishes, I'll be honest. Traditional Polish food isn't necessarily my favorite. I mean, because a lot of them, they have a lot of them are just sort of like white flour, pork, uh, miscellaneous things aren't. I guess stuff with beets, like I don't know if that's native to Poland. But it's definitely a Polish dish now. Buraki or yeah, wait, is it burak? Barsh? No, barsh. Yeah, but barsh is the soup. Buraki is just the raw. I like how I can get fresh. Yeah, okay, so I'll go with that. Fresh beets. That's pretty. I like that. So that'll be a dish I'll bring to Poland. Well, I mean they have, you know, I mean they have like ethnic restaurants, like Chinese or in yeah maybe more Indian food. It's not that tends to be pretty rare here. But I like stuff with spices, like Thai, Indian, that sort of thing. Okay, I want to skip through the food questions. Oh, okay, that's a good question. Uh, okay, okay, this actually relates to the next episode. He's talking about motion blur. I did not mention that in the next episode there are special circumstances why I turned off that game has motion blur, but I turned it off because I found it made me a little queasy looking at it. It doesn't. It's that game in particular though. Okay, he's mentioned how I like motion blur. Do I like it when I play games? Uh, what? The general, it sort of depends. Like, I think for racing games, I like it because it sort of adds to it. But in general, no, not when I'm playing it, but like when I watch it, I like it better. I don't know, because it's like if I'm in a shooter, like say I just move here real quick, I almost don't even want that delay. I just want to like lock in on the person. So, and also it's tricky to do motion blur. Since the thing, you move faster in most games than you would in reality, or the way to compensate. Like, yeah, you can turn your head quick, but your own eyes and brain are adjusted so that you kind of lock on to your target faster and don't have as much blur. Whereas they're kind of simulating more like what a camera would do. And I kind of like so yeah, I like seeing motion blur, but I don't really like playing with it usually. Although driving games being an exception because then it gives you that speed feeling, you know. Have you owned any consoles? I've had a Game Boy in the past. Jeez, was that the last one I owned? Like, it might be. You know what? It's like I feel like, especially now, it's like they're finding reasons to keep games off PC, and I guess it's getting better now. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I mentioned before, that like no game engines this year until like the prices are back to normal with video cards. This was my one exception that I had planned. So this one has a little more modern graphics than most of them. But it's like I was in the computers kind of earlier on, and once you're there, it's like the economics of a console they didn't work out, and I don't know. It's There's a lot of good console games. I mostly played them through friends. Um, but well, in the past, the economic, like the long-term economics, because the computer has more cost up front, but then it got cheaper once you, especially now. I think yeah, we just finished the Steam sale. The So I don't know. I guess now it's like say a new game comes out and they want me to buy a console for it. It's like, well, it's all using x86 hardware now. Couldn't you just freaking bring it over or have an emulator instead and I pay for the game that way? I mean, I don't know. It just seems like I think I've mentioned it before that it reminds me of like the old studio system. Like I think back in like the 30s or something, where Warner Brothers would have their own studio, Universal would have or theater have Universal would have theirs, and they wouldn't play movies from other studios. So I'm totally not against consoles. I just wish we'd get away from the exclusivity of it. I think Nintendo's the only one that keeps finding ways to justify it because they have all this unique hardware. Do you ever actually feel underrated as a content creator? Like you should have more views? No, kind of the opposite. I feel like I haven't gotten to my best stuff yet. I mean, I haven't really warranted as many as I have, and I've been incredibly lucky to sort of surf the Half-Life wave as a way of getting as much popularity as I do. So, like, I think if I even existed in the old system, I think I would be the equivalent of like stuff they play like after midnight. That's weird and nobody that's too weird for regular audiences to watch, but the people who are up then might it might it tends to resonate well with them. Like one of my favorite TV shows is the Syphil and Ollie show, and that was hosted by sock puppets. It was just really weird and hilarious, and that played at late night MTV. I would watch that through my friend. He'd sometimes tape it. Let's see. But plus, I haven't produced my biggest regret about my videos is I haven't made more, and it's not because I'm sitting around twiddling my thumbs. It's just because things end up taking too long, and I have to get better at eliminating. Well, I'm not sure I'll ever get better at eliminating my stopgaps. Maybe some of them, or my bottlenecks, not stopgaps. But if I don't, then at least that's what I want the movie for, is to just get something really, some of my best stuff, and then maybe that can open doors for me to getting more resources to uh, getting more stuff done. And the cult tycoon, you mentioned a lot of ways to recruit. Did you look these up, or are you secretly a real cult leader? You know, I would not have half the problems I do if I. Well, no, Dave, I'd have totally different problems if I was a cult leader. So no, I'm not a cult leader. She said, I don't even know if I looked that many of them up. I think it's more like I've been, yeah, you've seen movies where you have cults, and then like with when I was in school, stuff with the criminal justice and psychology. Man, cults are like a freaking Venn diagram of those, where they intersect in both. So I think I just learned a lot of this stuff just matter of factly, and it just naturally ties into cults, like what they do, how they indoctrinate people and keep them in there, that sort of thing. And I think a few of these I was just sort of making my best guesses on, like with cult tycoon, because I was thinking, you do kind of want to separate the people who you're going to rope them in from the people who are just, you can tell from their personality and everything that they're never really going to fit in. You kind of do, because you want to keep it seeming open and happy, but you kind of want to have the easy exit for the people who are going to be a problem. But the people who are just kind of need to be sort of, what's the word? Yeah, kind of brought into the fold. You kind of want to have some resistance for them. So let's see. Someone wants to beat the world record for how many people send a message in a game of telephone. I'm getting confused by this question. It's like, and it's below the other question, so the sub question. Oh yeah, the website design. What can we expect from that, and what can we expect it? The when? I sure hope soon. That's not completely in my hands. The what we can expect. Well, there's stages of it. The first is just going to be kind of how it is now, just with modern kind of code behind it, and it should be incredibly more mobile friendly. But that does not mean I'm sacrificing the layout design for people on a desktop, because that's a big thing for me too. So it should be extremely similar, just sort of like almost like a different skin almost. But it'll be easier to like, and you notice how outdated it is when you click on videos and I haven't updated it. This should be a lot better at that because I won't need to, because it'll be automated when I make a new post. And later I have another cool feature coming that's going to get its own video. That won't be with the launch, but it's the step towards something else. Actually, it's the gateway to other things. Because okay, so there's this cool side project that I'm going to have with that after it's launched, and then we're going to use that code base to make that sort of dead game archive site, the list site, and that's going to be a cornerstone towards like making documenting how many games have been killed best we can, and what being like sort of the cheat sheet for legal people to try to get right. But basically, I want to see. Look, I'm completely convinced in some countries, but not USA, that the practice of just shutting down a game that you paid for, like you bought it, because they'll legally define them as a lot of countries they'll legally define them as services. I mean as products, unless there's a monthly fee. So if you're paying a month, and how many games do you still have to pay a monthly fee or they shut it off? Very few. So they are products, regardless what the company says. So if we can show that there's been a long history of that's their business model of destroying your product, we might be able to get fines on these people, man, or these people, like EA or maybe Ubisoft or I think NCF Soft maybe or. And if they start seeing that in other countries, then they might, they might decide it's worth the extra week from the design or whatever from the design phase. Because yeah, it's more work from the end. But if to just okay, you know what, we'll have an end of life plan. We'll throw up a friggin' server emulator once we cut it off. Because so hopefully that's my plan. I'll have more on that later. So the website's a part, it leads to that. I mentioned this in the last Dead Game News video on the Dead Game News channel. The new ones are going to be, oh yeah, I'm going to have another one of those. Another topic has come up I feel is worthy of Dead Game News. So there'll be another one of those hopefully this month. And it's going to be the new format where it should be more watchable. Like, I kind of give them more explanation for my reasoning and that sort of thing, more editing. So yeah, Total Biscuit was he covered like the full spectrum of kind of consumer rights. I'm laser focused on games not being killed. That's the one. If I'm gonna have one game rights issue, that's the one to have because it's it bothers me on like a fundamental level. So. For the last 40 years, the end of oils was scheduled in 20 years. Following the Deus Ex 2 episode, you followed up on what the U.S. military is now thinking about. What's next? I'm not sure things have changed since I made my prediction on the Human Revolution one. It's like every now and then I'll get in like a phase where I want to research more on it. It's been several months since I looked up on it because. Again, we're never going to run out of oil in our lifetimes, but that's not what it's about. It's it's when the demand exceeds the supply, and then it's sort of hey, to make the analogy, it's like an engine stalling, like, and that affects the whole economy. So I'm not sure how that would play out exactly, aside from just sort of like an ongoing recession that just. Yeah, I guess think of it like this way. Think of it like the recession, except it just keeps going like that. And that's probably what it would look like. But, okay, let's see. And what's your opinion on coal? That coal's, it's a different thing because, again, oil, its primary use is for transportation. Coal, its primary use is for electricity generation. I have more confidence we can transition for electricity generation to something else that's more renewable or bountiful. I think there's a lot more room for optimism on that front. For transportation, you basically need electric infrastructure or cars to do that, and I think we're like decades behind where we need to be. So yeah, and you mentioned for the last 40 years it was the end of oil. Well, that's the thing. They found new tricks, is what like the horizontal fracking. That's basically, if you look at our supply or without, like, basically look at the supply of oil, pretend we never developed that. We'd be in trouble right now. And the thing is, even if we get another new technology, hey, let's say we bust open the Arctic, and get some major deep sea oil there. Well, this stuff gets expensive. And see, that's what it's about, there's a phrase, energy return on investment. So even if there's a whole lot of more oil there, if it's double or triple the price, then that's the same sort of clash on the supply and demand that basically freezes up gets the economy start grinding. So I love to hear predictions on this stuff of people who are really looking at all the variables. This is not a I'm right, you're wrong thing. This is based on the information I have. I'm not convinced this isn't a problem. That's what that's my take on it. So I don't know. I feel like we're kind of sleepwalking a bit on that, but yeah. Hey, if you want to explain to me, you can send me a long email or anything like that explaining why I'm wrong. Like, yeah, go for it. I mean, be polite. Sometimes some people like debate stuff. They take you as the mortal enemy. That's not my that's not where I'm coming from on this. But as a soundtrack freak, what's your opinion on the Lord of the Rings trilogy soundtrack? I think it. I feel like it's sort of the the standard for what you should for what a good soundtrack is. Like it's not my favorite, but it has like a memorable theme into it, a couple memorable themes. Cause my ring when we were getting it picked out, the late it was artisan working on it because it turns out that was like the same price almost as like getting one in the store, and we didn't really like the normal ones that much. And so she was talking. I had in my mind what I wanted, just sort of like a hammered look, and she was saying all this stuff to my wife in Polish, so I was kind of zoning out a bit. I kept thinking of the Lord of the Rings theme, the Ring theme. It's like doo 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 doo. That just kept going in my head like over and over again the same time. But there's the main theme like the da 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 da. It has like this kind of triumphant feel. It's memorable, but I'd say a lot of the music in Lord of the Rings is just sort of your typical sound. It was much more common in like soundtracks in the '90s, I think. It's sort of your typical soundtrack backing. There's a few parts that are a little more distinctive, but I'd say it's a good baseline soundtrack. It's not gonna just you know it didn't blow my mind or anything, but it's good. It's good. So and I feel like a lot of soundtracks are it's almost like they're afraid to define themselves as much as that one did. Because, if you hear that theme, it's Lord of the Rings. And it doesn't mean you need to repeat that theme everywhere, though some people might disagree on that. Yeah, in fact, I could change my mind, but for the movie, I'm not going to repeat the theme. I might repeat one theme a little bit, but I kind of want just, I'm going to make a movie where, man, I'd be happy to listen to this soundtrack and have it fit the setting for the most part. So I may not do the recurring music theme that much because I can almost get it to be an annoyance for me sometimes. But if you do it at the right times, it can be good. I guess it depends. Well, okay, somebody wrote, "What can we do for you?" Just have patience. I guess that's the and this is months off easily, but at some point, I think I'm going to need sort of a call to arms again regarding the dead games thing, like to contact like the right organization or something like that, maybe the EFF or something. I'll make a big deal out of that when I do. So it'll probably just involve like sending emails to, or that has to be like focused in the right way. That was my mistake on Darkspore is to try to appeal to EA. No, that's not going to work. I need the. I think more stick, less carrot, and it needs to go through the right channels. So yeah, just have patience. And what I'd be happy to say to fans is, it's totally cool if you stop watching my stuff for a while. Feel free to come back after several months or a year or something like that. I'm always happy for people who. I do that with some channels. Like I'll just let the videos stack up because I'm busy or just maybe not in the mood for them at that time. 3 months later, I'm just watching all of them. So that's great if people want to do that too. So okay, let's see. Have you found any good music in the post-Soviet space? Yes, but I don't remember any names of them. My wife would probably be helpful here. um, That's my best answer. I'm still behind on music and my system for sorting things. Ah, yeah, okay, this is a good one. A guy offered. Okay, good. Okay, great. I was wondering what happened. A guy offered to translate that German game I mentioned in the Yet 3 follow up. So I said, sure. I mean, yeah, if he does that, I think I have to cover the game. Uh, and let's see. I replied to him. Okay, so he says, you think you could, okay, he needs help and trying to access the codes in the right way so he can translate it. And it gives a link. So if you want to help on this, go to the Accursed Farms, yeah, official. What's the name? What did I title this? I don't want to scroll up because I don't lose my place. Okay, wait. Go on the Accursed Farms Reddit, July 2018 video chat, official questions thread. Scroll down and look for like translation or assembly. Yeah, he needs help with assembly. So it's the sort of thing my dad might be able to help with, but he never has time. for, uh, so yeah, if you want to help with that, maybe we could get a game dungeon based off a game that has not been released in English. So okay, so there's your promo, man. Let's see. Do you feel that YouTube will still be a good revenue possibility in the next few years? Who knows, man? Who knows? I mean, it's the sort of situation. It kind of reminds me of Microsoft a little bit, where it's like they're doing things we don't like in some ways, but they're kind of still the only game in town. I mean, yes, there are alternatives, but I mean, look, I'm sure a lot of my fan base would go over to another channel if they did do that, but you lose a lot of people because there'll be people that just forget. I mean, or they don't want to bother with the hassle going somewhere else. Yeah, I think I put in the demonetization video. YouTube is something like 20 times the traffic as like its next closest competitor. So that's a de facto monopoly. Um, so they can kind of do what they want. That's the question if just how whether an underdog could kind of overthrow them or I don't know. So I have no idea. So, can you write in a minor antagonist in the movie that is fungus based? No, but I had an idea for Civil Protection a long time ago. I'd still like to make it. It'd be a great episode that definitely has some fungus related stuff in it. Maybe we'll get to that at some point. Not till after the movie, though. So Civil Protection is still on hold till after the movie. Okay, somebody's asking, are mold our future overlords? I had a thought that, you know, we could almost, since we don't know how life, or if life exists in other worlds, you know, it could almost be like Earth is like considered like a quarantine planet because our biodiversity is just so incredibly aggressive that it would just be like, it could be life didn't evolve as like competitively on other worlds, so it would just like they wouldn't even want to like Earth would just be considered toxic because it's just like we can't even just stepping out. We have bacteria and mold and everything all over the place in the air. So I mean, yeah, we've evolved. We don't even think about that most of the time, but like an alien race that could be like a nightmare scenario for them. So I don't know. I had a thought like that before. So somebody's saying that they feel like life will always be very competitive. Yeah, but actually, there was a book I read recently, "The Sixth Extinction." I read that after because A New Beginning got me looking at like that, kind of trying to figure out trends on it. Actually, I learned some stuff I wish I knew. Like, yeah, here I'll mention it quick. Why not? I feel like an idiot for not knowing this or forgetting it. But I also kind of blame the media for not driving this point home. With global warming, the warming is only part of it. Okay, let's say you're in the camp that you think global warming isn't happening. Fine. The CO2 concentration, the carbon dioxide concentration, that is happening. That's very verifiable. It turns out the higher that is, that causes ocean water, that causes a reaction with seawater to make it more acidic. So the pH of the oceans is changing. So even if the temperature, it doesn't fluctuate, that means the oceans are getting more acidic, and that's killing off things like coral, which causes other, apparently coral, like in tropical zones. The tropical zones can actually be sort of like underwater deserts as far as nutrients, except corals are sort of like oases. So it's like, good God, it. I'd like to see future predictions regarding that. Uh, so okay, I got sidetracked here. I forgot the question. Oh yeah, with I can't remember what I was talking about. But geez, I really can't remember what I just talking about. It's frustrating for you because you watch me just say it. Okay, so I was getting to a point, but I forgot the point. I went from somewhere in mold to the coral reef, and I lost it. Sorry. Okay, so maybe we'll type it. Oh yeah, okay, that was the point. Okay, so see, but well, the other part of that book was that we've kind of introduced invasive species just sort of by accident, and it's like, well, I think that happened to like the Native Americans. Like our diseases, it's just like they had just their defenses were just nothing compared to ours. Coming from Europe, and yeah, I say ours. You know, well, I'm in Europe, so I get. Uh, but the same thing happens in the animal kingdom. Like they'll have like this plant in Australia where it comes to like North America, and there's just no natural competition for it. So it just wipes out just everything that would be normally a competitor, and then that just rearranges the whole ecosystem. So it could be like I think the concept was in Starship Troopers, the book, where there's this planet that there was like less natural radiation, so the life there was just it just wasn't as dynamic as what was from Earth. So like scientists were predicting that in the future, like anything from Earth that comes to it, the local flora and fauna is just gonna have like no chance because it's yeah, there's competition in life everywhere, but there's some environments are way more aggressive than others. So okay, so I'll get off of that. Let's see. Yeah, somebody's mentioned Europeans were shaped by the Black Plague. Yeah, sure were. Oh yeah, that was another channel. Okay, I'll mention that. That's another channel I've found kind of addicting. I've watched a few of them. Uh, I don't even remember the name of it. It's an alternate history channel. So this is a historian who looks at scenarios and gives his best prediction as to what would have happened if this event had played differently. So one is, what if the Black Plague never happened? Or one I was very satisfied with because I'm not like a major history buff. There's a lot I don't know. Craig is the voice of Dave in Civil Protection. He knows all about history. But one I've always thought is, what if like Napoleon didn't rise to power? That's a good episode because you get to see some real butterfly effect stuff going on in those videos. So let's see. Yeah, yeah. As far as that six extinction book, I wish that was mandatory reading and like for anyone involved in like policy making. uh, maybe not the whole book. A Cliff Notes up version of it would be fine. It's I would call. I was telling a friend of mine about that. I was explaining. It's sort of like if you know how World War Z is written from different perspectives. It's sort of like World War Z for the for covering the topic of species extinctions. So it's the author goes to all these different places around the world, just looking at what's happening in different areas. So, okay. How are you with the space games along the lines of Freelancer, Elite, the X series, etc.? And mentioning Dark Star One. That's the genre. That's the genre I want to love because I like the theme of it. But it's like, man, those always seem to have like a high learning curve to me, and that always kind of discourages me towards kind of going deeper into it. So I feel like sort of those space games are like my ongoing. Oh, I'll get to that sometime genre. Probably some people have game genres like that. Where like, oh, 4X games can be like that for me too. It's like, man, I want to really just give it my full shot, but I sometimes do punch through eventually for games like that. Both Quake Wars and PlanetSide 2 were like that for me, where I play someone that was like, okay. And I would just retry. It's like trying to start a lawnmower. It's like, like, except it can span, a few months or years before you finally get it up and going. So, let's see. In the Uncanny Valley review, there was a great effort not to spoil any of the game. Now, almost 3 years after the fact, do you think you could spoil the ending? Well, there's multiple endings. I'd say just play it. If you can see look, I mean, I gave you, if you just need like the most distilled summary of it, my video is gonna be good for you. I'd say just play it. Okay, I have more to say, but I'm gonna start filtering my stuff now to the more interesting stuff, just to move time along. Because I'm serious, I'm just gonna cut this off at 8 and get back to Game Dungeon. Well, 8 my time. Let's see. Would the infamous difficulty spike on level 3 of the Chosen Well of Souls be the result of some form of copy protection? Because as you've already pointed out, free release of the game much easier compared to the retail release. Yeah, somebody's mentioned Series 3. No, I don't think so because it's like it was ongoing. Um, I mean, I would have thought that, but I'm not even. Let's see. I have to check the disc. I gotta double check which form of copy protection it used because it's like some of the old ones, like the disc. I have a copy of Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne, and I don't have the disc copy anymore. What I did is I made like a perfect like 1-to-1 copy of it back in the day because I wanted to back it up, and I got sick of using the disc for it, and it works. It completely believes. And Blizzard in the past has been like pioneers of piracy protection. So I think the Chosen was old enough that it used one of those where you could actually make like a complete disk image of it, and that'll be enough so that it doesn't know the difference. But yeah, I guess the other thing is there was the U.S. version and then there was the European English version. So I don't know. I don't think it is though. Because there were other changes too. Like, see, that one had the voice. I think the freeware version didn't have all the voices. So it's just, it's all over the place. And it's not like it was just that one event, you know? What do you feel is your biggest weakness as a creator? And what is your greatest strength? It's a tough. Well, I think I mentioned earlier, my biggest weakness, I think, is I don't know. I feel like little things cumulatively just add up to take an incredible amount of time. Okay, yeah, my biggest weakness is okay. It's the same probably my ambition, because that's sort of what's going on with the next game dungeon. Is I just sometimes like I did cut stuff. I cut one shot that maybe I'll have it for the follow up that would have been really cool, but I decided no, it's just gonna take so long. I'm gonna get this, and even though it'd be neat for what I'm getting out of it, it just wasn't worth it. But other things, I just didn't want to back down on it. Like, no, like this shot's gonna. You'll see what I mean. You know how sometimes I have the footage before the intro. I have one part that I am amazed how well it worked out. So the very beginning of the next video, it's gonna be neat. So, but yeah, I guess my ambition, because that can make projects that should be smaller and more containable take forever, but that also means I'm gonna like work harder and punch through the stuff I really think can turn out well. So yeah, so my I think my ambition goes both ways. Games are devaluing faster than ever. Okay, it's a long one. Let me read it quick. You can buy a 60-year-old game 2 months. It's 45. Hey, if it's a sale, sometimes it's 30. Not that I buy games in that range, but I'm impressed. I'm amazed when it goes like the original, like Wolfenstein: The New Order was like that. It was like I'm pretty sure it was down to 30 on a sale like within a month or something that came out. And games a little over a year old for about $15. And we're talking the most expensive games to produce with very few exceptions. The problem with this business model is I don't think it's going to be sustainable if this continues much longer. Game studios need to make money. The products quit making money shortly after launch. Lead them to do one of two things. Publishers must make bigger but fewer games, have them devalue less quickly. Find an alternate source of income from games, like a recurring one. Loot boxes, subscriptions, and other in-game purchases. Okay, that's where he thinks it's headed. What do I think about? I think we really need to talk to like an insider who's been around a while, because I've heard that like the old days, well, let's say like the 90s. I heard that even then, like there was a difference. Like PC games, they would be sort of like this slow burn thing that they get sales for years and kind of ongoing. And actually, store owners used to kind of hate them because they'd be on the shelves forever. But console games, they really would get that surge of their sales for most games in the first month or two. So, and I think even now modern games, they're getting their sales within the first couple weeks. So yes, we are seeing the games devalue them, but the point is most of their income is still coming from the people who buy them new. So there, I think. I mean, on the other hand, it's like there's too many variables, because on one hand, yeah, games are getting more expensive than ever. It's getting ridiculous. On the other hand, you have a much bigger market than you used to, and plus, how much of that budget is going towards marketing for? I think it is unfortunate. Like my favorite kinds of games tend to be sort of like mid-level studios where they have, enough people to kind of work on and make it like a higher level production than what, like say, just an indie developer would make. But they're not so big that they feel like they have to appeal to everyone. They can just make a focused game and just do their best job on it. So I have no idea. However, there is a lot of bloat. I think this is why it's so important for me to try to like push back on dead games, because I think a lot of them are wanting to go towards the sort of the service model where they nickel and dime you for everything. Again, that's more somebody else's domain. However, games as a service goes hand in hand with killing your game forever. Because I see a new game, I can't help it. I look at, where's this game in 10 years? That's what I'm thinking. Oh, can I still play this game and it might be cool? Great. Oh, might it be literally impossible for me to play this? Then I hate that. And they're pushing too far is what's happening. So I feel like it'll sort itself out one way or another, except for the dying games, because let's say that there's going to be, because like, okay, let's say all the big heads, EA, Bethesda, Ubisoft, let's say they all collapsed, but like they just can't make a profit. Well, there's going to be all these smaller companies will look at to devour everyone. I mean, to devour that market. It's like, oh, so you needed $60 million to make your game. Well, I can make something that's like 80% of the production value for 2 million. I'm there, and they're gonna move in, and it's like, I think it's only going to remain rough as far as competition. It's like a monster, and you're gonna have people who want to make games for free. So it's just, I I don't know what's gonna happen. That's why I want to get this like lockdown on for the studios that do go under or the games that do fall by the wayside. They're not dead. You can still play them because hey, good stuff can come out of that. So yeah, that's why like it's kind of all roads lead to Rome. I feel like all roads are, with this kind of where the business is going lead to lead to dead games, needing to stop games from being killed. So, and the rest will sort itself out for the consumer, for the developer. Boy, good luck. That's all I can say. Okay, uh, somebody's asking about Rama and what I think of it. He liked it and or she maybe, I don't know. Uh, have I read the rest of the books? I read all of them except the last prequel by Gentry Lee. I'll mention that. I'll talk about that more when I do a follow up. Okay, we're down to the lower. Would you rather fight a skeletal gorilla or a ghostly horse? Well, if the ghostly horse would probably just bug me and like is it those kind of ghosts that can just rip in and take stuff out of you? In which case, I'd rather fight the gorilla. If it just sort of floats around, I guess the ghostly horse. Because the skeletal gorilla, you don't know what's holding it together. But if it's a ghost, what's it gonna do? I mean, it's just gonna. If I probably leave it alone, it'll probably leave me alone. Okay, let's see. Mention how Polish people are into American music. Well, they like Polish artists too, but it's more like stores still play them. I was wondering if they're into video games and which they prefer most. It's too broad a question for me to know, and I don't know enough Polish people to feel like I could speak for them to what sort of games they prefer. I will say that PC gaming is totally bigger here than it is in the USA. Like you go to a store, there are box copies of plenty of PC games on the shelves, and many of them it's bigger than consoles. Okay, and yeah, I'm skipping over the Polish music one because I don't know enough names. Several references to Charlton Heston films crop up in your videos. Assuming you have seen Ben-Hur, how does Masala's I'm Not Evil stack up against the hologram from Deus Ex Invisible War? It's been, I want to say it's been a decade or two since I've seen Ben-Hur, so I guess I don't remember that scene. I remember the leprosy scene. Those aren't the scenes I remember. I remember the chariot race. I remember the discovery of the leprosy. I remember the boat ram. Yeah, the drums and the boat. Yeah, I think I put that one on my videos. Uh, sorry, I forgot that scene. Uh, yeah, and if you're a fan of Ben-Hur, check out Barabbas. That movie's awesome. With Anthony Quinn. Uh, I've dropped that. So. Want to know what video took the longest to make or just require the most effort, whether it be challenging game. I don't even want to think about that because I'm still finishing. I have to still, yeah, I have 35 minutes here max. Okay. You fine? How do you deal with criticism, trying to claim that your own personal subjective opinions on the game are wrong? Well, occasionally they are wrong. I made a mistake on Deus Ex, like with the knocking people out. I thought the guys still blew up and they didn't. I just I assume too much from memory. is what happened. Uh, I think what you do is look. Nobody is ever going to agree with you completely. Make your argument. You know, if you don't, if you hate a game or you like this stuff, let people see that you really do hate it or don't like it. And if they disagree with you, they disagree with you. You know, it's just yeah, just back up, but back your stance up, and you know let the cards fall the way they do. You know, I mean, hey, I just said I thought Beyond Good and Evil was overrated. I don't have time to back that up, but you know that's not going to be popular opinion. I know with some people. Let's see. I don't think it's bad. Just well, hey, I said Doom. I thought was overrated. I didn't really like the mazes. I feel like there's been better first-person shooters, but I like the demonic theme. That part's still great. Uh, so you know that some people, there's some people I'm sure they have a shrine devoted to the original Doom right now. So it's because some things are just you're wrong. Other things you like different flavors. Yeah. Do you write everything out for Game Dungeon? Yeah, usually I do. Those have scripts. So, well, yeah, okay. So sometimes things crop up in Game Dungeon that I didn't plan on, though. That I take that into account. Profound moment, turning point, inspiration that left a mark on you. Oh, geez. Well, honestly, not the answer you'd expect at all. But I mean, I'll mention it. When I got you know, it sort of felt like the turning point wasn't my choice in the begin with anyway. Getting on the right medication when I had depression, that made a huge difference. I mean, I don't take it now, but like that was really dramatic turning point. Actually, when I won this machinima contest for the civil protection thing, that made me think like, wow, maybe I can do something with this. You know, because I never thought of it more than just like a hobbyist thing prior to that. How tall are you? 6 feet. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to filter the questions more now. So this is the part where I'm just going to be just kind of muttering to myself. Have you ever tried to get into the video game industry? Yeah, in the past, actually, I did with when I was still trying to earn a living from it. Actually, I think I was like a shortlist candidate at BioWare. Actually, I think what kind of did me under based on I had a phone interview with them. What did me under was I hadn't played Mass Effect yet because it wasn't on PC yet at the time, and I think my background tended to be more or less collaborative and more kind of director, and they kind of wanted somebody kind of can fit more into the slot that they're looking for. And now it be I prefer I don't know. I enjoy the luxury of having like more creative freedom. It's like I'd be totally fine with using somebody else's script or another idea, and I'm like, but directing, I do enjoy directing. So, have you any thoughts to demand to remake Star Wars: The Last Jedi? I didn't know there was a demand to remake it. I, you sure Mark Hamill's up for that? Like, uh, I get the feeling I get the feeling he gave it his effort. I mean, like he gave it his try. It didn't work. It's kind of like me with the Dota 2 thing. Well, I tried to make the voice pack. He probably. I, I, I don't think that'll happen, but I think that look, Disney's gonna figure out something. There's a lot of money behind Star Wars. They're gonna, yeah, because yeah, I think last time I gave it like a C minus or D plus, maybe a little lower now that I think about it. But I'm not number one Star Wars fan either. I was just looking at like okay, kind of a I think there's this guy online who's just shown just how much. I mean, it still had fundamental problems, but showing just how much you could fix by having like the right music at the right times. Okay, I'm down to like half an hour. I gotta move on. Somebody's mentioning other movies with bad casting. Well, I mentioned the Widow for the wrong voice actors because I mentioned that like the Germans weren't in sound German and Wolfenstein. Uh, yeah, 2009 or whatever year it was. And he said The Great Escape was a good one because they had German actors. I'm bad casting for accents again. The Widowmaker movie. It's a good movie, but man, accents are just it's bad. They just shouldn't have even tried. I, I'm uh, I'm drawing a blank on other ones. That's what that clip from Harrison Ford is in the Life is Strange episode. Oh yeah, actually I think they had Dennis Hopper in like sort of the end episodes of the first season of 24. I think it was playing a Serbian or something. Yeah, I wasn't buying it. Let's see. Sorry, but I'm still a little low in sleep. My brain's going in and out. I was wondering, what are some of your favorite or most memorable maps in multiplayer games? Um, and explain what real world locations that make awesome multiplayer maps. I'm not worldly enough to know which ones would be good enough. I guess some of my memorable ones. Well, I really do like. Yeah, I went completely overkill in that tournament. Torland I like from Unreal Tournament, but I played that a million times. Um, I'm trying to think of some other one. Oh, in an old Counter Strike estate, I have very fond memories of that because this was before. This is like in beta. I would play as terrorist, and this was back when you could, if you clicked on the hostages, they would follow you. And so what I would do is, yeah, I was kind of a bastard. I'd play as terrorist. I'd get the hostages to come follow me. Then I'd go out on this balcony and I tell the hostages to stay there, and then I'd throw a smoke grenade, and then I'd crouch down like in between the legs of the hostages and like start firing at the counter terrorist. So they would like be firing back, and then like bam, you killed the hostage. So I was basically using them as human shields. So I had fond memories of that. Let's see, what's another one? I like Dust Bowl a lot in Team Fortress Classic. That one had a lot. I like those kind of push maps. Um, it was more of an acquired taste, but I like Warpath in Team Fortress Classic and multiplayer. Of course, I liked what the yeah. I was just it was great with the smoke grenade because you couldn't see what was happening, but you're getting shot at. Uh, yeah, somebody wrote I'm a monster. Somebody asked what somebody in the chat's asking what I think about Team Fortress 2. Yeah, sorry I spaced out a lot of the chat here. The Team Fortress 2, the pace was slower and I wasn't completely sold on the cartoonish graphics. Again, that I'm the minority on that. Lots of people love Team Fortress 2, so I was a bigger fan of Team Fortress Forever. And okay, yeah, I don't know because the tricky thing about multiplayer maps is very often the ones that look the nicest aren't necessarily the best ones to play. Sometimes it's like the simpler ones that tend to be more fun. I mean, choke points can be a fun thing, or just oh boy, there was a map for it was a mod for Half-Life called Desert Crisis, where it had all these Easter eggs, and it would involve you like hitting switches, and then you go up in the clouds and you fly down and go to this other teleport, and it would end with you hitting a switch, and it would be this. It would end up with a flying sofa that you could jump on, and and then it would play the safety dance song, and some people they wouldn't even try to play the game; they just try to trigger that Easter egg. Uh, let's see. Do I think Crossfire? I never played much of Half-Life Deathmatch, so. And Daniel's saying in chat, please hold your questions till the end. Well, you can ask them, but there's a much higher chance I'll ignore them, just or not, or miss them rather, not ignore. Okay, so let me scroll. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think more about multiplayer maps. Like in Unreal Tournament, I think they had one with like floating castles that was. I don't know. I don't even know if the map was that good, but I like the style. I like the visual style of that. Let's see. Which would you? I think my wife does. I'm not going to answer this one because I think my wife's not even going to want to think about it. Which would you rather permanently lose, your hair or your beard? I don't think it's up to me anyway. So. Okay, somebody's asking what I thought about Union City. I'll give that a mention and I do the next follow-up. Ross, do you know the manga Berserk? Do you read it? I've seen like the first, not the, I don't really read manga, but I've seen the first episode of like the series. I have a friend who's into anime, and I made a deal with him that like if the next anime I watch, I promise it'll be Berserk. Because I don't, I'm not that big in anime usually. It's usually like the exceptional stuff I tend to see, but like like I think they had like a Castlevania inspired Netflix thing I may watch sometime, but that might have been CGI. I'll probably watch that at some point. But yeah, it look. I guess it has potential, for Berserk. I've only seen the first episode, so that's not enough to really judge it on. Yeah, in fact, I'm behind because I made a deal with him. If he watched Ian Flux, I'd watch Berserk, and I still need to watch Berserk because I love the '90s cartoon Ian Flux. Okay, I'm skipping over some. Do you like Magic the Gathering? Yeah, I kind of do, but I'm not following into that trap. Like so, if I were to visit someone's house and they had a deck, sure I'll play it, but I'm not the I don't buy them really because that's a ongoing drain on your income if you're gonna buy them. In fact, I have a funny story about that, but I think we're running sort of long here. Do you play or used to play any instruments? Do you compose music in any way? I play a little bit of piano, sort of keyboard, but not that good. I eventually want to once I have more space, actually, I want to get a keyboard and sort of practice some things. I'd love to learn how to play the Bloody Tears theme from Castlevania. That's a tricky one. uh, yeah, there's a few other themes like I can I know very little chords to give you an idea of like I'm still kind of at basic level. I can do like the Duke Nukem theme. I can just the music to Halloween Harry. Oh, that's another one I'd love to learn. It would be the Gabriel Knights credits music. It's like dun 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 boom dun 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 boom dun. As for compose, almost completely no. However, I sort of have a theme in my head that I may use for the opening credits of the movie, or I'll get a composer to maybe either use it or come up with something better. I realize though no, I don't even want to say what it's a little similar to because then everybody will see it. Then everybody will make that connection. I hope I'm not copying anything, but I'm just not good with that. I see composers like magicians, honestly. Like it's just they had uh, my talent in that is very minimal. But let's see. All right. Okay, I know I've been asked that one about game development. Do you have a list of games you want to cover in Game Dungeon, or is it a more spontaneous thing? Both. Although, as once my main list dries up, then I'll start going to fan requests at some point. Uh, Magda's Twitter, she said that you two hope you have your situation cleared up before the Venom movie comes out. Oh yeah, I'd like to clarify. I take no responsibility for what she says on her Twitter. That's her stuff. Just uh, I mean, if she says something about me, it's probably true. But that's she has her own opinions. So, are you or her Marvel fans? My wife is a big time Marvel movie fan. Uh, I enjoy the movies. I was never really into comic books in general, for the most part. The comic books I would read would be like real weird ones, like Sam and Max or Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. There's another one, Bear. I never really followed like mainstream, like superhero stuff. But I think the movies in general tend to be very well done. And I have a revision. I think somebody asked me in the past which my favorite Marvel movie is. I think my favorite now has to be Thor Ragnarok. That was the right level of weird for me. Oh no, actually, I could have gone a little weirder, but it was that ratio of weirdness. That's much more what I was hoping for. Okay. We're getting a little trolley questions now. So let's see. So someone's asking if I could collaborate with anyone. Who would it be? I have to think. I could collaborate with a lot of different people. It's more about the project. I think. I mean, and some people will be better at some projects. Some will be better at others. So it's not like one person. Although I may be. Well, we'll see with the movie. I may be collaborating with someone who I wouldn't have known they were going to be such a good person to collaborate with. I'm still keeping that kind of in the dark until I have something more definite. But knowing what I know now about them, they could be sort of a sort of a dream addition to parts of the writing. Yeah, a bunch of people mentioned Cultist Simulator. I'm not super interested in that one because it's I don't know for a collectible card game online. I feel like the artwork counts a lot more for me because cards is kind of big. Cards is fine as like a social thing, but uh, the what if it's a game, it's got to have. I like having the aesthetic element to it. So and I feel like there's more pressure on a card game for me to have like real nice artwork, and theirs is kind of minimalist and basic. So again, I'm not trying to knock the game, but I'm saying that's one that may not necessarily make my own personal cut for ones I want to check out. You know how we like to regulate the population of certain species of animals to prevent damage to the ecosystem of food chain? Do you think there's a species of aliens that could do the same on others, but on a galactic scale? Hey, anything's possible. And I'll say that actually is a component of the some of the Futurama books. I think was it Garden of Rama? I think that one might. Be, yeah, I think it was Garden of Rama, or maybe it was either the third or the fourth one. Okay, scrape on the bottom of the questions here. Let's see. What do you think of crossovers? They can be good when they can be good, especially again if they're two that go well together. Yeah, why not? Otherwise, they can be sort of forced. Yeah, like I saw one. I saw it was based on the book. I saw a movie a little while ago, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and They tried. They certainly tried, but I feel like it didn't really. It felt too random. It just didn't. It didn't quite mesh. Whereas I felt like Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, that one worked a little better. So, but even for ones that aren't trying to, yeah. So those are, but for ones that aren't trying to, well, in gaming, Aliens versus Predator, that goes together pretty well, I think. The movie didn't, but the games did. Yeah. Hey Ross, you're gonna check out System Shock 1 on Game Dungeon. Maybe, maybe not. Man, I'm so conflicted now because they're doing that remake which got delayed, but then they're changing it more, or I don't know if they're going back. See, I was hoping they were gonna stay true to like the old map formula and the audio, but they're just gonna give it like a new graphics and usability update. But if they're gonna stray from that, maybe I should play more of the original. But then the originals had the source code release, so maybe we could get a really nice port that like. So I don't know. I think that's one of those I better just keep waiting on. Okay, and to the bottom of the questions, so put stuff in the chat. I'll pick ones that seem like good ones to answer in the chat. Let's see. Oh, hey, the last guy in the chat said it would be good if you still made civil protection episodes, and somebody gave him -4. I'll try to make it, man. I feel like they're kind of ganging up on it. Like, no, it's I want to, but I want to make the movie more. That's the well. Once the movie's done, I can start looking where we are with civil protection again. Thoughts on Atomic Heart? I don't know what that is. Let's see. Okay. Could you stop using the Eastern Standard Time and Eastern Time interchangeably? I asked this because 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time would actually mean the stream starts an hour after it actually occurs, and that's confusing. It does? Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Okay, so, geez, I don't know what time thing I should I start using that UTC? I thought that'd be easier. Okay, should I use UTC in the future? Maybe you do that. I don't know. What do you what do you think about the Bureau XCOM Declassified? I tried playing some of it because it was free not long ago, so I grabbed it when it was. I don't know. It just wasn't. The gameplay wasn't grabbing me enough to like see. That's the other side of there being so many games is you got to decide what's worth playing. And to me, the competition was. I decided no, I'd rather be playing something else. However, I think I may want to watch like the cutscenes or something. So I might go online later and like watch like a playthrough of it or something, and you know see what the storyline is of it. So there's sort of different tiers they have for games. You know, we're like no, giving up on the gameplay, but yeah, I'm still interested in the story. I'll watch that, which I'm sure is the last thing a game developer wants to hear. But you know. Ross, any thoughts about the European Union's Article 13 that's being voted on? I think it got shot down, but they're going to try again. I really hope they don't do something incredibly stupid on that. Because, I mean, if copyright is all encompassing that you can't even have memes or that, like, third party sites are liable, that's just going to wreck. Well, no, what's going to happen is you'll see well, for people who can do that, like sort of exodus of site migration, or and maybe even of companies where basically that destroys the entire business model. They have to host them in another country outside the European Union. So I don't know. Uh, Copyright's such a mess. It's yeah. How do you think you'd fare in the purge situation? Oh, I think I'd do pretty well. I'd go deep into the woods. I mean, okay, camping time. Like, and you don't leave the night before. You leave a couple nights in, so you're real deep in the woods when the purge starts. Although I think in the purge, I don't think you'd have as much wanton murder as you do. I don't think it's really the driving force between behind a lot of people. Looting though, that could. I mean, you might have a lot of deaths from looting though. Looting could be a big thing, but yeah, that would be my purge plan. Coaches backpacking deep into the woods, I think. Okay, yeah, this is a great question. With regards to working crazy hours, how much of that is the type of busy work that can be alleviated with improved workflows or tools, etc.? Could the community be leveraged to write tools for you, or just examine your habits? Okay, yeah, here I'll give you. Yeah, maybe. Actually, one that can help. Okay, lots of thoughts. First, my biggest time sink, like with Game Dungeon, sometimes it's just recording the footage. I'm getting more help on that. Yeah, yeah. Like in the next one, Brian Shooter, pretty much every clip that's not the main game, he did that. I mean, I asked him what I was looking for. He wanted did that. So that's not really a tool though. For a tool, maybe this exists. When okay, say if I export something from Premiere, I need to learn. I need to learn Vegas also to be more adaptable. Yeah, some of the time sinks are just doing the raw editing or getting like the images together, and that can be more just. I really need like a secretary sometimes, or like a. Well, that's why I have the project manager for the movie. But sometimes the time frame it needs to coordinate everything, it can save time or it can lose things. For software, one thing I could use, like I export it losslessly as AVI. I could use a codec like UT codec, I think, and then I compress that to X264 because I think Handbrake does a better job than Premiere's encoder. But like, say I make a tiny mistake, how, what software can I use? This probably exists that can just 100% go to this frame, chop it off here. I fix this segment. I want to insert it and then mux it all together. I think I read maybe AVI Demuxer might use that. That could save me some time at the end phase, because that could save me an hour or two, because otherwise I have to re-encode the whole thing together, because I used to be able to like split and merge clips. Virtual Dub, I used to use that. It just hates those clips from Premiere. So, and this is lossless, so all the data should be there. I mean, you can seek frame by frame or anything. So, I don't know, that would save me some time. Other stuff, it's more organizational bottlenecks. Okay, well, there's my ongoing quest for volume balancing. That would help. Like, let's say I have a raw audio track. I want to see some of it's not just volume balancing, but like certain frequencies. Like if I go yeah, that can sound harsh. I want to find a way to like, if I'm just doing it manually still, but if I can find a way to make that less harsh without compromising too much, or no, what would be best is if I make make it less harsh, but geez, but not compromise too much of the other audio quality. Like it looks for beyond a certain level. Let's say I apply that as a basic thing, and then if I see that there's a problem, like wait, this sounds a little weird, and then I undo it, it's like okay, this was affecting a good frequency. I can just easily undo that. Or what is the most rapid and easy way to volume balance, or something like that, where I take a section because I feel like the tools are very direct, but maybe there's maybe some like motion controls to be even faster. I don't know. So yeah, editing, volume balancing, just getting all the little things together, and that almost takes just another person. So okay, I'm running out of time, but at some point I can maybe use another video editor, but we sort of have to be on the same wavelength and figuring out like what software is really the best that we should be using. Because I realize most of my editing and Premiere is pretty basic. There's only a few things I would need like Premiere for a couple shots, but so yeah. What's the best edit? Yeah, okay. Here's a great question for the internet. If I was gonna get an editor today, what editor software should I be using? Like what's something everybody's gonna know, or the most people know how to use? Because maybe I should just learn that and then increase my odds of being able to work with more people. Okay, so that was a good question though. Let's see. Russ, you don't care for 70s music. What genres are you referring to? Disco, pop? I don't really like disco at all. With rock, it's not that it was bad, but it's like I feel like it got better later, with like in the 80s and 90s and everything. So, uh, let's see. And I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of like anything like R&B, Motown. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies, those are good movies, but I just hated those soundtracks for the most part. I mean, so mixed feelings on that. Let's see. OBS studio. Oh, okay. No, somebody's talking about like my nearest neighbor scaling, and for broadcasting the game he uses OBS. No, no, it's not an issue for capturing. It's more like if I'm playing it. But actually, I'm finding DOSBox handles that pretty well for DOS games, at least. See, I don't even know what this means. Can you do a dab live on camera? Let's see. Well, how many games are on your list for Game Dungeon? I don't know, maybe like a dozen left, and then I'm getting to other ones. I'd have to check. And yeah, it won't end. The Game Dungeon won't end after that. It's just those are ones I definitely want to talk about. Okay, somebody asking about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. That's probably gonna be on the request list when I get to that. Okay, I have like 4 minutes. I gotta pick the ones. Okay, what does your shirt say? It's just some camping shirt, like thrift store. I think I got. Yeah, are there any video games you'd absolutely love if it weren't for one glaring flaw or gameplay decision? Yeah, I think you'll enjoy the next episode. I think you'll enjoy the next episode. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot like that. I think I'm just drawing. Um, do you want a Poland exit to happen? Uh, Poll exit like Brexit. I think that stuff's very complicated. Like simplest version, I'll say. I think the best thing from my very limited perspective about European Union is I like how they have harsher or more stringent environmental pollution laws because Poland could kind of use some of that. And I'm not claiming to be an expert at all, but looking at what's happened to Greece suggests the economic policy. I don't know, not. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. So I don't even want to get into that stuff. Leave that to people who are more knowledgeable. Let's see. That's a great question, but I'm running out of time. If you could have one perk from any game in real life, what would it be? I will have to say that for the next one, I think. Okay. Yes, Windows 10 is still shady. He's asking about that. I'll figure out the circumventing later. So am I saying they use Vegas for the editing? Because I'm still... Okay. Have you ever considered making live videos your day? Because I'd watch that. No, but maybe I can come up with something. Hey, email me if you... I would want something more interesting than that. Something maybe more like moon gaming or something. If you can think of things that are just sort of like more filler material, kind of like this, that you would actually want to watch, let me know. I kind of just don't want to dilute the channel too much. Okay. How do you feel about Fallout 76? Not super interested in it. However, you know what? Tell me it's not just a matter of time. Somebody's gonna take all those assets and make a total conversion in Fallout 4. Like and maybe add stuff. Like they're gonna take that map, put it in Fallout 4. I think that's gonna happen. Um, Okay, so so I have a minute left. So let's think of the best perk to have. Well, that just this hacking perk that could be pretty useful. I mean, I could solve a lot of the dead game problems then if I just okay, fine. I'm in your servers now. I'm in your company servers. Oh, look at that. The source code got leaked after you kill it. Okay, I gotta kill. It's 2 hour limit. I'm stopping. I'm gonna get back to work. This is gonna go up really soon, I think. Thanks for showing it. More stuff coming. Disruption coming whenever I move. Okay, I'll see you.